Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar on becoming the CEO of your portfolio. I'm excited that you're here and great to see everybody. We are going to walk through a very important topic today around reframing our role as account managers and specifically how we think about our jobs and our portfolios. My name is Alex Raymond. I am the founder of Amplify. I've been in the account management space for a long time and have worked with literally hundreds of companies and thousands of individual account managers on helping to improve their results, be it reducing churn, getting more expansion from their customers, increasing stickiness. I have seen lots and lots of companies, and I know what is working and what is not working out there today. I also host the Account Management Secrets podcast. If you haven't listened to this, please check in. We've got 54 episodes so far, and it is really a tremendous resource for all of us in the post-sales world. Real quickly about Amplify, this is a tremendous community. If you're not familiar with Amplify and what we're building, this is a growth community for account managers in the modern era. So people who, like you, have got really fantastic and big deal jobs as account managers, want to come together, learn from one another, see what's working right now, exchange notes, get access to exclusive training. Stick around later. I'm going to share even more about Amplify and how you can get involved. And just before we start, I'm going to share there are a couple of free resources up at amplifyam.com, including the Align Process ebook, which is a fantastic tool for renewal since we're going into renewal season right now, and an account planning health check where you can score your account plan process against best practice and see how you are doing. So I would strongly invite you to check those out to get better at the craft of account management. So let's get into the topic of today, which is becoming the CEO of your portfolio, changing the way that you think about your portfolio and your accounts and your role. And I want to start by simply talking about what's going on right now in 2025. Well, you know this just as well as I do. There's a lot of weird stuff going on out there. It's difficult. It's tough. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. And there are some trends out there that are making our jobs as account managers even more difficult than they've been in the past. The first one that I want to highlight is that new business sales is slow. It's choppy. It's tough. There's a lot of data that shows that new logo sales is basically harder than it's ever been. And guess what? That means more scrutiny is put on us as account managers. People are spending more time wondering, what are we doing to keep and grow the customers that we've got? I also know that there's a lot of do more with less mentality out there. And therefore, portfolios are getting bigger. So if you used to manage 10 customers in your portfolio, a lot of people are now seeing portfolios of 15. Or if you used to have 20, now you might have 30 in your portfolio. We're definitely seeing larger portfolios, which puts a lot of stress on us as individual account managers. Everyone is being told to get by with what they've got, to do more with less. There's fewer resources out there, which means less training, less support, less enablement, fewer tools for us. And we also know the big one out there that AI is changing expectations. It is providing us both with opportunities and with a lot of confusion and with a lot of extra work around stuff. So all this means that the role of account managers is probably more important than it's ever been, right? We can navigate through this stuff. We can help our teams when new sales is slow. We can help our teams by delivering more revenue from existing clients. Even though our portfolios are growing, we can use AI to make ourselves more effective. And so there's a lot of stuff that we can do as account managers that we're going to talk about here today, things that we are going to share that are going to allow you to see your job and your role in a whole new light. So lots of stuff happening, lots of stuff going on, and there are a lot of reasons to be both hopeful and think, boy, I really need to make it through this transition. And the transition is well underway right now. And look, whether it's the do more with less conversation, the fact that new sales is stalling, or AI or just kind of keeping up with the craft of account management, there's a lot at stake for us. And there's going to be a shifting of winners and losers out there along our chosen career paths. So people who get it are going to win. People who don't get it, who don't make the shift, are going to wind up being the losers over time. And I want to share some of the things that I've learned, that I've seen from the Amplify community and with other discussions with leaders and post-sales teams, so that you can successfully make the transition here, right? I don't want you to be stuck in a stalled career. I don't want you to be facing the fear that AI might replace you. I don't want you to be constantly thinking, that dreaded thought of, oh, my customer is going to churn, something's going to happen there. No, I want instead to give you tools, insights, ideas, mindsets, different ways of thinking about things so that you can come out very squarely in the winner column here. And look, not everybody's going to make it. Not everyone invests in their own skills. They don't invest in sharpening the saw. They don't spend time really building up their base of knowledge or their connections or learning from what other people are doing, right? Far too many people are relying on outdated models, training that happened 5 years ago, some book that came out 25 years ago, or whatever it is. That's not going to cut it anymore. And the result of that is there's a lot of confusion about what an account manager does. You know this because you're in the role, and so you face this every day. I call account managers the unsung heroes of their companies. Unsung heroes meaning, yeah, you do a ton of work and you drive 70+% of your company's revenue through your existing customers, and you deliver basically 100% of the profits. And yet, you don't get the recognition you deserve. You don't get the support or the resources or the budget or the training or all the other things that could help. That's why I call account managers the unsung heroes of many companies today. And while that sounds good because we've got the word heroes in it, it's not, right? I don't want us to be unsung heroes. I don't want you to be an unsung hero. I want you to be able to say, I'm a sung hero. I'm an actual hero. People understand, what's going on. They understand how I contribute. It's very clear how I am a very important part of my company succeeding. And so how do we get around this? How do we make this shift from being an unsung hero to being what this webinar is about, which is the CEO of your portfolio, or putting on that hat? Most of it comes down to the definition of what it is that we do as account managers. And this is something that has long been a bugbear of mine, that our list is very, very long. And if you ask an account manager, what do you do all day? Or if you ask the CEO of your company, what do your account managers do all day? You're going to get a lot of very weird and random answers. And so, borrowing from Office Space, I want you to open up your chat window here, pop in, what is it that you think your job is? What is it that you are doing as an account manager? Say you're answering this question. What's going on? What are you doing as an account manager? In my experience, pop it into the chat, tell us what you're thinking, tell us what's going on. And in my experience, this is going to be way too long of a list, right? We're going to be saying all sorts of things that we think we're supposed to be doing, as opposed to what really matters. I mean, I've talked to account managers and they say, well, my job is I've got to do QBRs and I've got to check in with customers and I've got to liaise with product and marketing about such and such internal thing, or I've got to help customers with their biggest challenges, or I've got to get my forecasting right, or what have you. And you can see in the chat, there's a lot of answers coming into this question. It's all perfectly valid because we want to represent, hey, here's all the great things that I do. Here's the value that I'm providing to the company. But guess what? It's not going to be as impactful as you want it to be unless it is crystal clear. And so I want to propose here a very simple 3-part system for you to get to the heart of what it is that account managers actually do. And I want you to take it. I want you to steal it, memorize it, put it everywhere, share it with your teams, tell your boss about it. This is something I think is so important for us to thrive as a community of account managers, so that we're not making our life more complicated than it needs to be. We're not actually the unsung heroes anymore. We can go out there and take the glory that we deserve. And so here's what I want to propose to you. I want to propose very simple job definition of an account manager. 3 things. We got 3 goals. That's it. I'm going to go through these one by one, but they're very obvious right here on the page. Goal number 1, keep your customers. Goal number 2, grow your customers. Goal number 3, no surprises. If you do this, you don't have to do all the other stuff. If you're keeping your customers, growing your customers, and making sure there's no nasty surprises lurking around the corner, you don't have to worry about all the other things that are taking up your time. That account management tax that you're paying right now, with all those things that are taking up your time and energy. And we're going to orient toward these. These sound very simple. There's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of power to this. But just remember, if you want to step into that CEO of your portfolio thinking in terms of that role, if you want to get out of the unsung hero trap, if you want to actually get your career on a new trajectory, if you want to get the budget and the recognition that you deserve, keep it simple, keep, grow, and no surprises. So let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. First of all, the economics here are incredibly compelling. We've done a lot of analysis within Amplify to understand where revenue comes from, where profits come from, how this breaks down between new customers, existing customers, expansion, retention, and so on. And the economic case for investing in account management is basically bulletproof. Okay, it's bulletproof. Here's some of the data right here. It costs you, when you do new business sales, it costs you $1.18 to make $1. Yes. So basically, it costs you an additional 18% trying to win that new customer. To put this another way, winning new customers is unprofitable. You lose money on a new customer. You lose money for kind of a long period of time on a new customer. But you guys don't need to worry about that because you're the account management and customer success teams. You're focusing instead on keeping and growing customers. Growing customers, 28 cents for $1, so a huge margin within there. And renewing a customer, so keeping them, is 13 cents for $1. So there's a lot of really good reasons why your company should be investing more in this area, why you should be getting more credit and more budget and more pats on the back and all that sort of stuff, because it makes incredibly compelling sense. And so I want you to take a screenshot of this, go share it with your CFO, CEO, whoever it is, make the case for them to be investing more in your role, in defending the customers, invest more in our existing customer set. It makes tons of economic sense for us to do so. Question for the group. What is hardest right now on your plate? What is the toughest thing out there? I know that there's so much economic uncertainty. Put it in the chat. What's harder right now? Keeping customers, growing customers, or making sure there's no surprises? I mean, keeping customers is, do you have a churn issue? Is churn a problem out there right now today? Right? For many companies, it is. Growing customers is, are we getting them to acquire, to buy new products and services from us? Are we expanding through upsells and cross sells and stuff like that? No surprises. Look, it happens and it sucks when, as an account manager, we get smacked with a surprise that we didn't see coming. And it feels really bad to have to go tell our boss, oh, hey, that client that I thought was green, well, they're actually red and they're leaving us. So I feel you. I see you. I've been there. I've worked with these teams. I know what it's like. You have a very, very tough job. You don't get the credit that you deserve. We are going to change that. We're going to start to walk through how we can go about this. So briefly, I'm going to go through keep, grow, and no surprises. And then we're going to share some stuff around how you can implement this and make it stick and make it last. Let's start with keeping, retaining our existing customers. This is the number one edict for an account management team. As we just talked about, we spent a lot of time, energy, and money acquiring a new customer. Our peers, friends, and colleagues in sales have very difficult jobs. Sales is harder than it's ever been before. It's less efficient than it's been before. Therefore, we have to really be careful about guarding and protecting what it is that they hand over to us. So retention is now at the top of what every board, every CEO, every executive conversation is talking about. Because customer acquisition costs keep going up, We know, and I just shared some information, we've got to be as efficient and effective as we can at building a moat around those customers and making sure that they stick with us. If your payback period, which you may or may not know within your company, but it's a great conversation to have. If your payback period, for example, is 25 months, what that means is you're losing money on your customer for the first 2 years of life. So if your customer sticks around with you for anything less than 2 years, you are literally just incinerating money. You're just burning money. You're throwing it out the window. You're like taking out $100 bills and tearing it up. So that is why everyone's now starting to be like, hey, we really, really need to be focused on that. The other thing that's happening is we're starting finally to get the realization out there that retention is not automatic. You guys already know this because you're out there every day talking to your customers and getting them to stick around. It's a very active job. It takes a lot of work. Retention, there's no such thing as this ARR and MRR, which is annual recurring revenue and monthly recurring revenue. It doesn't actually recur, does it? It's not magic. It doesn't just show up. People don't just wire money to you. No, you've got to be out there convincing them, working with them, helping them meet their goals, doing all the things that they need to succeed so that they stick with you. So people are starting to make that realization. I really want to change the conversation around this automatic, sort of recurring revenue. I don't think revenue goes on trees. I think you're not getting the credit that you deserve. I think you're doing a lot more work than other people are seeing, and it's time for us to change the conversation about that. This is why a lot of CEOs, CFOs, executive teams are focusing on retention. Okay, it makes economic sense, and sales is just so tough and uncertain right now. And there's another reason that I want to share with you. The other reason is valuation. So if you were to ask your CEO what's the main thing that they care about, they're going to tell you they care about the value of the company, growing the enterprise value of the organization. It's what the board cares about. It's basically everybody's North Star metric. Well, guess what? I'm going to give you a really good piece of ammunition here to go talk to your C-suite, to go talk to your boss or your CEO about why to invest more in account management. And that reason is that companies that have higher net revenue retention have higher valuations. In fact, the difference between a 100% NRR and 120% NRR is a 63% gap over 5 years, which is a huge number when we're talking about significant companies. So if one company is worth $100 million, the other company could be worth $160-something million. And you can see how all this compounds and changes over time. So take this chart. This is data. It's not my data. This is data from Software Equity Group. Take this chart and share this with your boss. Here's why we need to be investing more in retaining our existing customers, because it compounds over time and it leads to tremendous increases in the value of our company. Boom. Do that. Go have this conversation. Share with them why we should be investing more in this area. This is a huge gap. It's a huge difference. You can just see from the slope of the line there, you want to be a winner. You don't want to be a loser. You want to be a winner. The efforts that you are doing every day as account managers are driving revenue retention. The better your retention, the more value. You should be rewarded with recognition and compensation and budgets and support and all the great things that you need in order to be even more effective at your jobs. So take this one again, screenshot it, and share with your boss. And look, there's a mindset shift that we need to address here. The mindset shift is somewhat lazy on our part. And it's the idea that, if they're not complaining, everything is fine, right? Or like if something comes up, they'll call me, or the squeaky wheel gets all the attention. And so sometimes we do, it's true, as account managers, kind of get into some lazy ways of doing business, and we think, oh, I don't need to call them. They haven't called me for a while. Everything must be fine. I'm going to assume the renewal is coming. And that is typically not a great posture to be in. I don't believe that no news is good news. I believe that no news is bad news. I believe that if we don't test our assumptions, if we don't get out there and actually figure out what's really going on with the client, if we don't have those conversations, and in fact, if we don't initiate those conversations, I think we're usually in a pretty bad place. So that's a belief that is holding you back from thinking like a CEO. A CEO, on the other hand, won't assume that everything is okay, won't assume that we're in the green, won't assume that everything is on track, won't assume that no news is good news. The CEO is going to question their assumptions and say, what don't we know? Where's our blind spots? What do we need to really focus on here? How do we uncover the story behind the story, or the why behind the why, so that we can truly get out there and protect this revenue? So that's a mindset shift. I'm just going to come back to this real quick. Here's a common belief that a lot of account management teams have. No news is good news. If I haven't heard from them, they're likely to renew. Here's how I want you to reframe that. Don't assume anything. Don't assume that everything is going okay. Change your thinking about this. Change your thinking and then change your actions. Go do something about it. Be proactive. Talk to your customer. Ask them these types of questions. That's the shift that I want you to get out of being an unsung hero. Question for the group. Put this in your chat. Open up your chat. What's one thing that you can do right now to keep a customer engaged before something hits the fan, before there's a problem? What's one thing that you could do right now? You could do a QBR. You could do a results review. You could do a strategy session now, between now and the end of the year, and say, we want to get, all ready and aligned before next year. Let's have a session to talk about the future. Put ideas in here, because we're all learning from one another. So tell us what else you could do, or ideas that you have that would help us to engage our customer even more before something comes up. We all want to learn from one another. We want to see what's happening exactly out there today. This is a lot of what we do within Amplify, so I love seeing the answers that are coming in here. Thank you. So that was the number one thing that we all need to do as account managers. Keep our customers. The second one is grow. So growth means we've got a customer. How do we get them to buy more of our product or service? How do we get them to expand to a different geography? How do we sell to a new business unit? How do we basically widen the frame, solve a bigger problem for them, so that we can get there and share more with them, provide more value, so that they grow with us? New sales is slowing. We've covered that. I've got some more data I'm going to show you here in a second. Expansion is the path forward. Expanding our customers is essentially our critical duty as account managers. When you look more broadly, there's data from Gartner saying that 73% of chief revenue officers, chief heads of sales, are now focusing on existing customers. They realize, other people are starting to realize what you've known for a long time, what I've known for a long time, which is that existing customers are the heart of the business. Our path to profitability and growth goes straight through the heart of our existing customers. So this growth mindset is starting to take hold. It is taking hold. That's good for us, but I want you to be able to navigate the transition. First, some data. Really interesting data from EBSTA. They are showing us what's the trade-off between selling to a new customer versus selling to an existing customer. And you can see right here, whether it comes to win rates, sales cycles, or stakeholders, the number of people you need to be selling to, there's so much of an advantage to selling to an existing customer. You have a 45% chance of winning a deal selling to an existing customer versus 18% if you're selling new. Your win rate your sales cycle, so the time it takes, basically gets cut in half, right? To 52 days instead of 91 days. And the number of people you need to convince, because you're already established and you already have relationships, goes down tremendously as well. So you only need to talk to, on average, 5 stakeholders versus 8 if you are selling new. So again, take a screenshot of this. Go talk to your CRO or CEO about why we should be spending more time selling to existing customers. I think the case makes itself. And there's also data from this very same EBSTA report saying that in 2024, so last year, for the first time, more new revenue came from existing customers than came from new customers. Okay, so try that one on. 52% of new revenue came from existing accounts last year. That means that all the efforts that your sales and marketing team put in 2024, all the webinars, trade shows, outbound emails, negotiations, sales pitches, blah, 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 all the many, many, many things that they were doing still generated less revenue than you did through expansion. And guess who gets President's Club, gong, bottles of champagne, and all the kudos? It's the new salespeople. not you guys. Let's change that. So again, share this information with the folks on your team so they can see the contribution that you are actually making out there. And look, there's a reframe here as well. The reframe here is if they want something, they'll call. Right? Oh, they know what we do. They know that we don't just do this one product, but they already know that we've got 10 other products or 10 other service lines, or that we can do this thing in other parts of the world for them. Customers know that. They'll just call me when they're ready. Does that sound like a winning move to you? Does that sound like the right posture to be taking in 2025? It doesn't sound like a winning move to me. And I don't want you to be stuck in this reactive mode. I don't want you to be stuck there thinking, they'll reach out, because here's what happens. Your customers already put you in a box, right? They say, oh, we just buy this one widget from these guys. So when I need more widgets, I'll call them. But if I need something else, I'm gonna go to market. I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna do an RFP. I'm gonna call other people. That's the missed opportunity here, right? Is your customer, because they're busy, because they have a million things going on, they are putting you in a box. They say, here's the playing field for you as a company. And your job is to break that frame. Your job is to get out there and widen the scope of their understanding. Make sure that they truly understand all the things that you can do for them. That's the path forward when it comes to growing your customers. So if we shift from the unsung hero mindset to the CEO mindset, it's about being proactive, not being reactive on this stuff. And the CEO will say, how can I go out there and frame the conversation and challenge my customer and guide my customer and lead my customer so that I can solve bigger problems for them? Because when I solve bigger problems for them, guess what? The pots of money get way, way bigger. If I'm solving a small problem, I get a small budget. If I'm solving a big problem, I get a way bigger budget. This can be the difference between a $1 million customer and a $10 million customer in the same account, right? So literally, are you doing this? Are you being proactive? Are you being active in working with your customer to break the frame that they have for you? They've got you in a box. Can you break that? Can you get out there and solve bigger problems? So that's what I want you to be thinking about when it comes to this particular issue of growth and expansion within our customers. So question for you, again, open up your chats, put this in here. I love seeing what everyone is writing. Thank you so much for doing that. How often do you find the opportunities before your customer does? Like where you go out there and you proactively share with them, hey, we've been solving this issue for you, but I think we could look even farther upstream and we can find new opportunities. We can find new ways to solve problems for you, Mr. Customer, Madam Customer, whatever it is. And is that something that you are actively practicing? Is this something that you are doing? If not, what can we start to shift there? How can we get into that conversation to go upstream and solve bigger problems for our customers? If anyone's good at doing this, if anyone has a lot of experience, tell me about it now, because I'm writing a book about account management and I want to feature you in that book if you are really, really good at this. So tell me if this is something that is a zone of genius for you. Let me know. So that's number one, keep your customers. Number two is grow your customers. Number three is no surprises. There's no better way to give your CEO a heart attack than to have them read on LinkedIn that one of your existing customers bought something that you already provide from somebody else. That is literally going to ruin their day and potentially put them in the hospital. CEOs, just like every other executive, they hate surprises. And these days, delivering too many surprises is a great way to get yourself ushered out the door. And I've always said account managers, a huge part of our job is risk management. Risk at the portfolio level, risk at the customer level. And right now, number one, if we're being told do more with less, it means it's even harder for us to see the risks that are happening, because if your portfolio just grew by 25 or 50%, that's even more risks you need to be aware of. It's even more relationships. It's even more work. That's a big deal. It's hard to stay on top of all that stuff. We also tend to get a little bit lazy and over-index on stuff like relationships. Oh, this person likes me. Everything's going to be fine. We've got a great relationship. We've been working with them for 5 years. They're not going to leave me. So sometimes we do get a little bit lazy there. And when that happens, it becomes more likely that we're going to get hit with a nasty surprise, which is Totally bad news for everybody. And so I want you to shift into risk management mode. How do I think about this from a risk management perspective, which doesn't sound very sexy, or it sounds cooler to go out there and keep customers and grow customers and solve problems. But a big part of this is what's going on that could derail us at any moment. And so we tend to lean back on, I've got a great relationship with my champion. We've been working together for years. We went out to dinner last time I was in town, and we had a great conversation. I took them out on, whatever, to a ball game or to golf or whatever it is they care about. We really bonded. We've got a super relationship. If anything comes up, they'll call me first, right? They'll let me know if anything fishy is going on. This is totally, totally not true. And if you're saying this to yourself, you're really asking for it. Your relationship is not that strong. Your customer doesn't care about you. They care about themselves, and they care about solving their own problems. They do not wake up in the morning thinking about you. And frankly, by the time you hear about something, an org change, an acquisition or a merger, a new boss, a change in priorities, whatever it is, by the time you hear about it, it's already done. It's way too late for you to do anything about it. So you need to develop a sense, a spidey sense, a sixth sense to go out there and figure out what's actually happening. And this is really, really a critical skill for you to be developing. The CEO does not tolerate surprises, right? So the CEO says, yes, I might believe that my relationships are strong, but I'm going to question that. And instead, I'm going to build a system with methodology behind it so that we are not having any of these surprises that are getting in our way. And here are just a small number of the types of risks that you want to be focusing on, that you want to be working on. Relationship risk. Okay, is the stakeholder taking longer to call me back? Are my contacts vanishing on me? Is all of a sudden I used to talk to 10 people and now I'm only talking to 2 people? Those are all flags for you on the relationship side. Value risk. Is the customer actually getting the value? Are we hitting the goals? Is the ROI there? Or are they starting to grumble or question about any of this stuff? Or are we noticing that we're trending down on some KPI over time? Do we have any operational risks? So this could be tickets or help or support desk or just general issues working together. Are there big macro things that we're going to categorize as market risks? So where we've got either something happening, downturns, tariffs, the economy, some kind of big competitive thing, something that's blowing up the market, like AI right now is a big market risk for a lot of companies. Do we have financial risks? So are we getting budget cuts? Are we getting more scrutiny, hiring freezes, anything like that? The best account managers out there are going to have a risk register. They're going to have a place where they track all this stuff for all their customers, and they're highlighting the ones that are really important or potentially impactful to a team or to their executives on a regular basis to talk about how to mitigate it. And that is something a CEO will do. Right? A CEO will say, I need to understand the full picture here. I'm going to question all of my assumptions. I'm not going to take any of these answers at face value. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. So very important for us to be really attuning ourselves and sharpening our ears and eyes to understand risks that are out there. I kind of hate to ask this question, but feel free to answer it if you'd like in the chat. What's the worst surprise you've ever had with an account? Those accounts where you're just like, everything is going great, everything's going perfect, and then boom, they drop you. They're like, I'm out of here. We're done. It happens to all of us. You're not alone. These things happen, and I'm not saying we're going to be able to resolve that entirely, but we're going to try to get better at it. We're going to try to see this stuff sooner. We're going to try to lessen the blow from these kind of things. Because it's not that bad news in itself is a problem. It's not knowing about it. That's the problem. So if you've had a nasty surprise and you're willing to share, please do share it. If you prefer just to reflect yourself on things that are going on, then I totally understand, and that's okay as well. So that's the CEO mindset. This is what I wanted to share with you. I'm not satisfied with us being unsung heroes. I'm not satisfied with your career being in limbo. I'm not satisfied with you not getting the recognition that you deserve. And I want you to simplify your thinking about your job. Focus on keeping your customers, growing your customers, and making sure there are no surprises. So, question to you, and this one you can answer in the chat. What's one thing you're going to do tomorrow? What's one thing that you're going to start doing tomorrow? Are you going to go upstream and try to find bigger problems to solve at your customer? Are you going to start managing your risk register a little bit more proactively? Are you going to do a QBR? Are you going to do a relationship review? Are you going to do a results review with your customer? What's one thing that you want to go start to do? Where's an area where you feel like you're weak? Where's an area where you feel like your whole team might be underperforming? What are you going to do to help get out there, think like a CEO, and actually drive change inside of your organization? When you do this shift that I was just talking about, you're simplifying stuff, right? We're not doing 30 things, we're doing 3. And in a meaningful way, you're in the driver's seat instead of the passenger seat with your customer. Like, I'm inviting you here to take control, to take command of the entire relationship with your client and of your overall portfolio. I want you to question your assumptions. I've talked about that a lot. Question assumptions means don't assume the world is as you see it. There's a lot going on that you're not aware of. If you only talk to your customer once a week or once a month, you don't know what's going on for them. And you've got to assume that you've got blind spots. And then finally, I want you to master your craft, right? CEOs are masters of their craft. And you can do that too. So CEOs have peer groups that they join, and they join entrepreneur groups, they join other executives. They're constantly learning from one another. Hey, what's working in your business? What's working in this business? They're bringing in coaches and advisors and consultants. They are mastering their craft, and I want you to do that too as an account manager. And that's why we've set up this entire webinar series, by the way. So this is just webinar number 1 in a 3-part series. The 3-part series, next one is Flip the QBR. It's running on September 16th, 23rd, and 30th. The 3rd webinar is 6 weeks to reframe your whole thinking about account management. And that one runs after that. So join these webinars if you want to keep mastering your craft and sharpening the saw. With that in mind, I want to share some really powerful things that we're doing within the Amplify community that are going to be of interest to you and to your teams. They're going to help you be more effective, get better results, and start to act like the CEO of your portfolio. The first is we've built an entire account management methodology within Amplify, where there's a series of courses that help you get way, way better at your job. We just wrapped up one called AI Fundamentals for Account Management. We've got one on negotiating renewals and upsells. We've got one called QBR Mastery, and we've got the Account Planning Bootcamp. So we have 4 courses we've done already. We are now about to launch our 5th program, which is called the A10X Account Expansion. All of these link together. They are all absolutely fundamental skills for you to master as an account manager and for you to bring to your team. We also do great things like we built a custom GPT. This is Amplify GPT based on all of our knowledge of account management. You can ask it all sorts of questions. You can ask it to de-risk an account, to review an account plan, to prep for a QBR, to role play with an executive. You can do all this stuff within our GPT. This is just one example of the types of resources that you get within the Amplify community. So this is the place where the top 1% of account managers gather, they share information, they learn from experts. We've got guest speakers, we've got a resource library, we've got all this stuff entirely dedicated to the art and science of account management. I would love for you to come and join it and come and check it out. This is a great way to master the craft, to sharpen the saw, to really put your career on a totally different trajectory. I mentioned our upcoming program. This is a 6-week program called the Amplify 10X Growth System. This is about thinking exponentially instead of incrementally about your accounts, how to get bigger impact, more results, better achievement of goals for your customers, more money for yourself, more recognition. That starts on October 14th, so it's just over a month away. And this is going to run over 6 weeks for 1 hour a week on Tuesdays. Super highly recommend it. This is going to set you up for success in 2026. So that you're going to learn all sorts of secrets. You're going to learn mindsets, new systems, new ways of thinking to go out there and really get a whole lot more done for your customers and for yourself. I would love for you to join it. There are multiple ways to join. The best way to do it is to become a member of Amplify. Amplify membership, by the way, is super good value. It's $1,000 a year. Super highly recommend it. This costs way less than anything else you're going to do out there. And it's the only place where the entire conversation happens around account management. If you're excited by this, then I want you to consider joining today before we get to the A10X course, because that way you can watch all the existing videos and get plugged into the community. And there is a special code since you stuck around to the end of the webinar today. Use the code A10X and you'll get $100 off an annual membership. So that is something we are doing in the lead up to the A10X course that launches on October 14th. So lots here. I can't recommend this high enough. We have awesome account managers from around the world inside of Amplify, learning, sharing with one another, and just getting way better at their craft. They are all shifting their mindsets to be the CEOs of their portfolio. Critical element to this is going to be implementing the 4 arrows of A10X. This is exactly what we're going to be getting into. Solve bigger problems, radical curiosity, act like an owner, and raise the floor. We're going to share, of course, lots more detail on all this stuff inside of the program itself. So thank you all very much for being here. Be on the lookout for follow-up emails from me. If you have any questions, just reply to those emails. And thank you for being here. Thank you for committing to your own growth as an account manager. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again soon.